Welcome back to the Rock and Turner Investment Podcast. We're excited to have you join us for another episode filled with valuable insights and expert analysis to help shape all of your investment decisions.
How would you characterize what is happening in Silicon Valley right now?
Well, it's an extraordinary moment even by Silicon Valley standards. Every decade or so, you have this inflection points. You have a new technology. It was the personal computer at one point, the internet coming in the late 90s. Then it was mobile. Then it's been cloud, what we call as cloud. Now it's clearly the era of AI. And that's the excitement you probably felt around campus as well as in this whole region.
And can you give us a sense of the scale? Clearly, the metric that people kind of go to is the market cap, these extraordinary numbers for you, 3.5 trillion, NVIDIA at 5 trillion, the sheer amount of investment going in. Give us a sense of scale.
One way to think about the scale is what we are all investing in capital to build out the infrastructure that's needed for artificial intelligence. Maybe 4 years ago, Google was spending less than $30 billion per year. This year, that number is going to be over $90 billion. And if you collectively add what all the companies are doing, we have well over $1 trillion of investment going in building the infrastructure for this moment. And one way I think about it is in the next couple of years, we'll end up building what we probably built in the past 10 to 20 years. So hopefully—
Just in a couple of years?
That's right. So that gives you the scale at which this is ramping up.
Now, you mentioned some of those phases of technological advancement that happened with much market excitement as well. And the obvious question is around the whole of this country and the whole of the world right now is it a bubble?
There are two ways of thinking about the question. I look at the actual progress we are making in terms of the model capabilities, and the progress is palpably exciting. And people are using this, and we are deploying it in our products. Consumers are excited about using it. We are giving it to companies. They are using it to make their companies better. So you see real demand, and we are constrained in our ability to serve that demand. And given the potential of this technology, the excitement is very rational. It's also true when we go through these investment cycles, there are moments we overshoot, right, collectively as an industry. We can look back at the internet right now. There was clearly a lot of excess investment, but none of us would question whether the internet was profound or did it drive a lot of impact. It's fundamentally changed how we work digitally as a society. I expect AI to be the same. So I think it's both rational, and there are elements of irrationality through a moment like this.
I mean, you just described your excitement about Google's kind of hardware, which is the key scarce resource. I guess, would your argument be, I guess it would be, that whatever happens, whatever appears to be a frothy, exotic deal from one of your competitors, Google will be immune from any bursting of the bubble because of your spectrum of investments across all technologies?
No company is going to be immune, including us. If you overinvest, we'll have to work through that phase. But I think we are better positioned. For many years, we have taken a deeply differentiated approach to how we've approached AI. One of the first things I did as CEO was to shift the company to what I called as an AI-first approach. And part of that was doing all the parts of what it takes to build great AI technology. So we call it a full-stack approach. You can think of it as a soup-to-nuts approach, all the way from the underlying physical infrastructure to the research that you need to do to drive this technology forward, to deploying it in products and platforms, be it search, be it in YouTube, be it in Android, and so on, right? And so we have taken the deep approach. So we are able to invest at scale and make it work across all these products and businesses. And I think so we are better positioned to take a long-term view and approach this moment.
Okay, well, let's take that, and then let's try and sum up, if you like, the ultimate power of the tools you have built for people at home. How effective could it be? Could an AI agent do your job at some point?
Look, I think where we are is right now, you can interact with this AI, ask questions, go back and forth, and have these intelligent exchanges on many, many topics. I think the next step in the next 12 months, you will see the evolution being that they're able to do more complex tasks for you. So that's where it gets really interesting. I have to go shop something, I have to buy a birthday gift for my spouse, and can I ask this chatbot to go do that, right? So I think that kind of what we call agentic experiences is what we are all excited about. So down the line, that means there are moments it can help you make a decision, right? Like, it could be, should I invest in this stock? Ask the question. Or my doctor is recommending a treatment, and how should I think about the pros and cons of that treatment? So those are all real, tangible use cases. So I think there's still work to be done to unlock those capabilities, but that's the journey which has been so exciting to see.
Now, Google had a reputation for caution and concern on AI safety and the risks to humanity, the existential risks that were talked about. Is that gone now, or parked, or downplayed? Is it full speed ahead, AGI and superintelligence?
Look, there is some tension between when technology is developing fast, how fast do you develop it, and how do you put in the work to make sure you're building mitigations against potential harmful effects. We encapsulated this tension. We call this, we want to be bold and responsible at the same time. So we are moving fast through this moment. I think our consumers are demanding it. People picking up a phone, they ask questions now. They ask much more complex questions, and they expect us to use AI to be able to better answer that. Right? So we have to meet that moment. But for example, we are open sourcing technology which will allow you to detect whether an image is generated by AI, which we are investing in as well. So you will see us, we have increased our investment in AI security over the past couple of years, proportional to how much we are investing in AI development.
Okay, but we can only take our cues. It's a very complicated area. We take our cues from the experts who talk about this, some of your colleagues in the industry. Obviously, the big Microsoft OpenAI deal has closed. I was struck looking at the history of that the history of OpenAI, that Elon Musk suggested he helped found OpenAI, specifically because he feared Google owning DeepMind and what he called an AGI dictatorship. And what are we meant to think of that?
I think Elon is rightfully pointing out that, no one company should own a technology as powerful as AI. But I think if you look at the current state of the ecosystem, I think there are many, many companies. I would argue there are many companies, many frontier models. You have open source models coming in with China, right? So if anything, I think, you're right, you never want, if there was only one company which was building AI technology and everyone else had to use it, I would be concerned about that too. But we are so far from that scenario right now.
Okay, well, I guess if it all goes wrong, your quantum computer will help us navigate to the multiverse or some other parallel universe. I mean, how's it going with this extraordinary and fairly difficult to understand technology?
The progress is, I think we have the state-of-the-art quantum computing efforts in the world. The progress is so exciting. I would say quantum is there where maybe AI was 5 years ago. So I think in 5 years from now, we'll be going through a very exciting phase in quantum, and we are investing with a view towards that. But as you know, nature, universe, all fundamentally is based on the principles of quantum mechanics. And building quantum systems, I think, will help us better simulate and understand nature and unlock many benefits for society.
And my sort of final question is, the last time the BBC was here, a few years ago, you had already invented the core technology that would go on to become ChatGPT and Gemini. And at that time, no one had really heard of it outside of Google, and yet it's transformed the world quite clearly. Is there anything similar you've got buried away in the labs with the white coats now that we should know about?
Look, we are working on a range all the way from, our self-driving technology is making extraordinary progress, and it already is showing safety benefits. And, I think scaling up the technology will avoid a lot of human fatalities, which I think and has a lot of societal benefits. I genuinely think what we call in this umbrella as AI, we didn't even talk about things like AlphaFold, which won the Nobel Prize, and which is helping. There are many, many biologists and chemists around the world using it to better discover new drugs.
Is this right? It did hundreds of millions of years of PhD research in a few months?
That's right. That's exactly right. It would take one PhD, their entire PhD, to do one protein. And we have done around 300 million proteins in a matter of few months, and we made it openly available to everyone.
And that's done from London. People may not appreciate that in the UK.
It's done from Google DeepMind in London, and Demis Hassabis and John Jumper, who led the work, received the Nobel Prize in chemistry last year for it. But I think in some ways, we can take progress here for granted. We all used to talk about the Turing test. We've kind of gone past it, and no one talks about it. If I had told 5 years ago to people that if you go to San Francisco, there'll be many driverless cars driving around without anybody in the driver's seat, people wouldn't have believed it. It just happened.
Hang on, didn't they start honking at each other? Were they talking to each other? Were they communicating?
I hope not. I don't quite think so. But
are they alive?
But maybe. Look, we are using AI to better understand how dolphins communicate, etc. And so I do think there'll be serendipitous moments like that. But it's exciting. And what is important is, as humans, we adapt to these technologies. The fact that I recently had my dad in a Waymo car. He is over 80 years old. The wonder, I was in the back and he was in the front. Seeing him experience it, helped me understand the progress we all take for granted. And I think there are going to be many such wonderful things in the future.
We really hope that you enjoyed today's podcast, but we really only scratched the surface. If you want to explore any of the themes discussed in more detail, see the show notes or visit us at rockandturner.substack.com. Oh, one more thing. Be sure to like the episode, share it with others, and save it to your favorites so that you don't miss future episodes. Until next time, we wish you every success with your investments.